Now let me tell you something. Your body is not betraying you because you are old. It is often being asked to manage a food environment that changed faster than you did. Meals became softer, sweeter, more refined, more packaged, and easier to eat past fullness. Daily movement disappeared from the spaces between breakfast and supper. That does not make diabetes your fault. Age, family history, sleep, medicines, body composition, and many other things matter. But it does mean there is still a lever in your own kitchen. Researchers did find was that the older Okinawan generation, raised on a mostly plant-based, sweet potato-centered diet, had very low recorded rates of diabetes and other age-related illness compared with many modern populations. When Okinawan food patterns westernized, that advantage weakened. Today I will show you the old plate, the evidence behind it, and a safe first-week version that does not ask you to fast, throw away your medicine, or buy anything from me. In one published reconstruction of the traditional Okinawan diet, 69% of calories came from sweet potato. I will show you why that number does not mean you should fill 69% of your own plate with sweet potato. A stone declaration in Ogimi begins, "At 80, I am still a child. Near the end, I will tell you what that stone can teach us and what it cannot prove." The Okinawa Centenarian Study began in 1975. Later, I will separate what this long-running research actually observed from what internet legends added to it. And the most useful Okinawan phrase today may be hara hachibu, eat until you are about 8 parts full. But I will not ask you to count to 80%, fast, or leave the table hungry. The sweet potato is not the secret. The structure of the whole meal is. This need not cost more or require hours beside the stove. Stay with me even if your knees are already bad, even if you live alone and cook for one, and even if you have tried everything and no longer trust another food promise. You will learn 3 things. What was truly in the old Okinawan pot. Why that pattern may support steadier energy and metabolic health, and how to make one modest supper this week with ordinary food at a pace your knees and your budget can manage. Near the end, I will show you the one mistake almost everyone over 60 makes with this: copying the historical food instead of the meal architecture. This is not medicine. This is what we did so that we needed less of it. Your doctor stays your doctor. Keep taking prescribed medicines and continue your screenings, vaccinations, and appointments exactly as advised. The quiet cost of confusion is not only a number on a future blood test. It is the afternoon when hunger sends you to the biscuit tin, followed by the heaviness that makes the garden or the walk feel farther away. It is losing confidence in an ordinary supper. Soon every potato looks guilty, and every package marked low-carb or diabetic-friendly looks necessary. Often, it is not necessary. A month of specialty bars and powders can cost as much as beans, oats, frozen vegetables, root vegetables, and several good suppers. That money belongs in your real life, in the grocery purse, in the garden box, in the envelope for visiting your grandchildren. Your body may handle glucose differently now. Muscle mass and daily movement often decline with age. Sleep, stress, illness, genetics, some medicines, and the body changes around menopause can matter too. This is not laziness. It is not weak discipline, and it is not proof that your useful years are behind you. The answer is not punishment. It is not an empty plate. It is arranging a satisfying meal so that fiber-rich food, enough protein, and foods with plenty of water and volume do more of the work. That pattern may support steadier energy, strength, and glucose management. It cannot diagnose diabetes or replace its treatment. If you have unusual thirst, frequent urination, unexplained weight change, marked tiredness, blurred vision, or another new symptom, please speak with your clinician. Do not try to solve it alone with a sack of sweet potatoes. Even in Ogimi, the potato never wore a white coat. The one food pattern was not one food. It was a meal in which intact plants occupied most of the pot. In reconstructions of the traditional post-war Okinawan diet, sweet potato was the principal staple. Green and yellow vegetables were common. So were legumes and soy foods. Rice, meat, fish, eggs, dairy foods, oil, and added sugar were eaten in much smaller amounts than they are in many modern diets. One published reconstruction estimated that 69% of calories came from sweet potato. That is a startling number. But it belongs to a particular population in a particular period of history. Food was limited after the war. Scarcity shaped the table as well as tradition. I will not turn hardship into a pretty longevity story, and I am not asking you to copy that percentage. The useful lesson is not the number, it is the structure of the meal. Here is the first and strongest layer of evidence. This part is well studied. When fiber-rich whole plant foods replace some highly refined, energy-dense foods, the meal usually contains more water, more chewing, and more volume for its calories. It often takes longer to eat. It may feel satisfying without being as easy to overeat. Fiber also slows the digestion and absorption of carbohydrate. It supports bowel health. Beans bring both fiber and protein. Vegetables add volume and a wide range of nutrients. But protein matters more deliberately as you grow older. Muscle is precious. A historical diet should not be copied so mechanically that you become weak or undernourished. Old is not automatically ideal. Useful is useful. Now think of a sweet potato beside a sweetened biscuit or a bowl of refined cereal. All contain carbohydrate. Carbohydrate can raise blood glucose, but the sweet potato arrives with water, fiber, cellular structure, and the need to chew. The biscuit may arrive with refined flour, added fat, added sugar, and very little resistance between the packet and your second helping. This does not mean the sweet potato produces a flat glucose line. It does not. Variety matters, cooking matters, portion matters, what else is on the plate matters, your own body matters. Orange, white, yellow, and purple sweet potatoes can all fit. The purple Okinawan kind is not required. It does not possess village magic. An ordinary potato, beans, oats, barley, corn, or another intact staple familiar to your kitchen can carry the same broader idea. Cooling cooked starch may increase its resistant starch somewhat. That is interesting food science. It is not a diabetes treatment, and it does not guarantee a particular glucose response. If you use insulin, a sulfonylurea, or any medicine that can lower your blood sugar, do not make a large carbohydrate change on my say-so. Your readings and medicine may need professional review. Speak with your doctor, diabetes nurse, or pharmacist. Do not change or skip medicine because a meal looks healthy. The second layer of evidence is observational. Older Okinawans who kept more of the traditional pattern were documented with favorable health and longevity profiles. The island was also known for an exceptional concentration of very old women, many remaining active into advanced age. That is an association. It is not proof that sweet potato caused long life or eliminated diabetes. The old generation differed in many ways. Total energy intake was different. Daily movement was different. Smoking, healthcare, genetics, social connection, and the history of that generation all matter. Researchers can adjust for some differences. They cannot put an entire lifetime into a laboratory jar. Then there is tradition. Tradition can help you remember a sound practice, but it sits on a different shelf from a clinical trial. In Okinawa, you may hear nuchi gusui, meaning food is medicine or food is medicine for life. I understand it as respect for the daily meal. The pot can support you day after day. But food is not prescribed medicine. You may also hear hara hachibu, stopping at about 8 parts of 10 full. It is not fasting. It is not a command to count calories or leave the table hungry. It is the old reminder to eat slowly enough to stop before uncomfortable fullness. I will show you the safe kitchen version later. A moai is a small circle of friends who carry each other through life. Ikigai is the reason you get up in the morning. Both may help a person keep routines, share food, move, and feel needed. Those things matter for well-being. They do not neutralize glucose. That is tradition and common sense with some modern support around social connection and purpose. It is not evidence that friendship can replace clinical care. A good neighbor may walk beside you to an appointment. She should not cancel it. Seaweed sometimes appeared at the Okinawan table, but it is optional. It is not a daily requirement. Iodine-rich seaweed can be a problem for someone with a thyroid condition, so that is a pharmacist conversation. Large or concentrated amounts of seaweed, turmeric, ginger, green tea, jasmine tea, and other herbal products may interact with blood thinners or other medicines. Even food-level use may need individual advice. I am not recommending extracts, powders, supplements, or high doses. Grapefruit-type citrus is not part of this plan because it interacts with many medicines. Follow the instructions from your pharmacist. Now, you may be thinking, Hannah, a diet with most of its energy from carbohydrate cannot possibly belong in a diabetes discussion. That is a fair objection. Carbohydrate raises blood glucose. The total amount matters. Your medication plan matters. Your individual response matters. I am not going to pretend this works the same for everyone. Some people do well with a lower carbohydrate eating pattern. Modern evidence does not establish one perfect ratio of carbohydrate, fat, and protein for every adult. A person using insulin may face a different decision from a person without diabetes. A frail woman with poor appetite may need a different plate from a strong woman who wants a lighter supper. But smaller is not zero. The distinction between carbohydrate sources still matters. A high carbohydrate pattern built mainly from intact roots, vegetables, and legumes is not metabolically identical to one built from sweet drinks, refined flour, and ultra-processed snacks. One brings fiber, water, structure, and nourishment. The other can deliver a large amount quickly with little fullness, not carbohydrate innocence. Carbohydrate context. Imagine the old pot. Sweet potato sits among leaves, onions, squash, and beans. The meal must be chewed. It takes time. Now imagine a bottle of sweet drink with a soft, refined snack. The carbohydrate arrives quickly, and it is easy to consume more before your body has had much chance to register the meal. That difference is real. It still does not tell me exactly what your glucose will do. Adding non-starchy vegetables and a suitable protein changes the volume and balance of the meal. Eating without racing gives fullness signals more time to become noticeable. Replacing part of a refined starch with an intact root or legume may improve food quality without turning supper into a punishment. Part, not necessarily all. This is where modern evidence and the old kitchen meet most honestly. Modern research supports fiber-rich, minimally processed foods, adequate protein, and a sustainable pattern. The traditional Okinawan table gives us a concrete example of that architecture. It does not give you a universal prescription, and the architecture can travel. You do not need Okinawan soil. You do not need an expensive purple potato, cabbage from the freezer, carrots, beans from a tin, oats, barley, tofu, an ordinary potato, and the protein already familiar to you can all belong. The old pattern also used little added sugar and little oil by modern standards. That does not mean fat is bad. It means oil was not quietly pouring extra energy into every bite. Nor does it mean you should remove needed nourishment from a small appetite. The right amount depends on your health, your weight, your appetite, and the guidance you have already been given. There is no prize for copying poverty. There is value in remembering the plant-heavy pot. When intact plants occupy more of the meal, they can crowd out some food that is refined, quickly eaten, and easy to consume in large amounts. That may help with fullness and overall dietary quality. Over time, such a pattern is consistent with guidance for metabolic health. May help. Not guarantee. And if you already have diabetes, your response can be quite individual. A meter reading, when your clinician has asked you to take one, tells you more about your response than a photograph of an Okinawan field ever could. Monitor only as you have been directed. Bring meaningful changes to your care team. The oldest women I knew did not discuss macronutrient ratios beside the pot. They knew whether supper had leaves in it. They knew whether beans had been stretched through the week. They knew that eating slowly left the stomach more comfortable. Their memory is texture, not proof. The proof must stand without them. Whole plant foods bring fiber and structure. Legumes bring useful protein and fiber. Adequate protein supports later life nutrition. Less refined meals are generally harder to swallow in a hurry and easier to build with satisfying volume. Observational Okinawan research gives us a promising historical pattern, not a single cause, so keep the principle close. Not one miraculous food, a repeatable kind of meal. I am not going to tell you anyone hid this from you. Something quieter happened. Convenience arrived, and kitchen knowledge slowly faded. I watched it across my own lifetime. First, the old pot still sat over the flame, sweet potatoes underneath, leaves and onions on top. A little tofu, beans, or fish when there was some. The path to the field was part of the day. Then white bread appeared more often, refined noodles, sweet drinks, processed meats, richer restaurant meals, food that could be opened and eaten quickly. Work changed, transport changed. The path to the field disappeared from many days. No one woke up intending to forget. A woman I remember would come home tired and choose a packaged supper because it was quick. She had work behind her and washing still to do. The packet made her evening easier. There is no shame in that. But when enough evenings changed, the shape of the old meal changed too. The roots and leaves became the side dish. Sometimes they vanished. I also want to be honest about the old table. The post-war food surveys came from years when food could be scarce. A low intake created by hardship is not a health program for you. I will not polish hunger until it looks like wisdom. What deserves keeping is the plant-heavy structure, not the deprivation. My island became its own receipt. The older generation, raised with the old pattern, was documented with remarkable longevity and favorable health profiles. Later generations lost some of Okinawa's relative longevity advantage, especially men and younger groups, as food and daily life changed. But one spoon cannot explain the whole pot. Smoking mattered, alcohol mattered, activity, body weight, social habits, healthcare, and many other differences mattered. Research can show the generations moving apart. It cannot honestly blame one loaf of bread or credit one sweet potato. That is why I feel sorrow, not blame. The young did not become weak. The world around the kitchen became quicker, richer, and easier to eat without noticing. Old skills stopped being ordinary, and ordinary skills are easy to lose. They are also possible to remember. You do not need to rebuild my childhood. You need only recover one useful shape, more intact plants in the pot, enough suitable protein, and less room for the refined convenience food that quietly took over. Tell me which first change feels possible in your kitchen: root, beans, or vegetables. Your answers decide which one gets its own full video. Name only the food you would use, please. No diagnoses or medicine lists. If you like simple recipes and safety notes beside the stove, I have gathered everything from these videos in one small book. You will find it at grandmahannah.store. The link is below the video too, or just point your phone at the little square in the corner. You do not need the book to begin. Because you stayed, here is the part I save for the person who stays. Do not copy the historical percentage. Copy the architecture. When practical, let about half of your eating space be non-starchy vegetables. Add a palm-sized or clinician-appropriate protein food: beans, tofu, fish, eggs, yogurt, poultry, or another familiar choice. Then begin with a fist-sized portion of an intact starch: sweet potato, ordinary potato, beans, corn, oats, barley, or another intact grain. This is a visual starting point. It is not an old Okinawan rule, and it is not right for everybody. Now we can settle that strange number. The 69% came from a particular post-war food system. Sweet potato was the overwhelming staple. It does not mean that 69% of your calories should come from sweet potato today. You may need more protein and more total nourishment than that historical diet provided. Begin by adding before subtracting. Add vegetables and suitable protein first. Then replace part, not necessarily all, of the refined starch. If you are frail, losing weight without trying, recovering from illness, managing kidney disease, restricting potassium or fluids, or following a prescribed nutrition plan, do not use this formula without personal guidance. Sweet potatoes and some beans can be high in potassium. Your clinician or dietitian's plan comes first. If your knees are already bad and you think none of this is for you, stay with me. This next part is specifically for you. The first change happens at the pot, not on a mountain path. If chewing, appetite, money, or standing at the stove is difficult, we make the plan softer, cheaper, and smaller. Here is the centerpiece I promised you. Do not copy the old percentage. Copy the architecture. Choose one familiar supper this week. Keep your usual protein. Add 1 extra handful of vegetables to the pot. Frozen is perfectly respectable. My freezer has never complained about being less traditional than my garden. Then replace only part of your refined starch with an intact one. No fasting, no skipped supper, no heroic beginning. You might start with half a medium sweet potato or a small fist-sized portion as part of a mixed meal. This amount is not a treatment, and it does not guarantee a particular glucose reading. It is simply a modest place to begin. Add about half a cup of beans if you tolerate them, or use another suitable protein. Tofu, fish, egg, yogurt, poultry, or your familiar choice can fit. In later life, adequate protein matters. If raw vegetables are hard to chew, cook them until tender. Soup counts. Soft cabbage counts. Carrots from the freezer count. If you use insulin, a sulfonylurea, or another medicine that can lower your blood sugar, do not make a large carbohydrate change on my say-so. Monitor only as your care team has already directed. Ask your doctor, diabetes nurse, or pharmacist whether a meaningful food or activity change requires review. Never reduce or skip medicine because supper looked healthy. Before you go to bed tonight, choose the one supper you will change. Put the sweet potato, beans, oats, barley, or ordinary potato where you can see it. Put the frozen vegetables near the front rather than behind the mysterious packet that has lived there since winter. For a low-cost pot, try cabbage, carrots, onions, and rinsed canned beans with no added sugar. If sodium is a concern, compare labels and follow the sodium target your clinician gave you. Store-brand tofu, frozen spinach, oats, barley, and ordinary potatoes can all do useful work. You do not need a purple Okinawan sweet potato if you have kidney disease or have been told to limit potassium, phosphorus, sodium, or fluid. Do not make internet substitutions. Sweet potatoes, beans, and some vegetables may not fit your personal plan. Ask your renal dietitian or clinician. Their guidance outranks my kitchen. Now we come to Hara Hachibu. Place your first modest serving on the plate. Sit down, eat without racing. Then pause for 5 or 10 quiet minutes before deciding about seconds. 8 parts full is not a meter inside your stomach. You do not need to calculate 80%. It means leaving room for comfort rather than eating until your waistband begins negotiations. But if you are frail, have poor appetite, are losing weight without trying, or have a prescribed nutrition plan, your goal is adequate nourishment, not a smaller plate. Do not use Hara Hachibu to restrict food or to go hungry. After one suitable meal, try 5 minutes of gentle movement. Use a safe, level path. Begin smaller than feels necessary. Before bed tonight, put your walking shoes by the door if the doorway and path are safe. If your knees argue with you, do it sitting down. Gently march your feet beside a sturdy counter or from a stable chair. If standing feels secure, move indoors near the counter. Wear proper shoes and use the walking aid already recommended for you. Balance trouble or fall risk means seated movement may be the wiser choice. A clinician or physical therapist can help you choose safely. If you have a heart condition, new pain, dizziness, or breathlessness beyond what is usual for you, speak with your doctor before beginning. Stop if concerning symptoms appear and seek appropriate help. Studies suggest that light movement after a meal may help reduce the rise in glucose after eating, but 5 minutes is a habit-sized beginning, not a promised result. Here are 3 simple suppers. For the first, Keep your familiar protein. Add cooked cabbage and carrots. Have half a sweet potato alongside a smaller amount of your usual starch. For the second, make bean and vegetable soup. Add another suitable protein if you need it for adequate nourishment. If beans upset your stomach, begin with less, or choose tofu, egg, fish, poultry, yogurt, or another food that suits you. For the third, use tofu, fish, egg, poultry, or your usual protein, with 2 cooked vegetables and a modest serving of potato, corn, barley, oats, or another intact starch. These are templates, not treatment menus. Your carbohydrate needs are your own. Your medicines are your own. Change one supper first. Add before you subtract. Eat slowly, then move for 5 gentle minutes if it is safe. That is enough for the first week. Small enough to repeat is better than impressive enough to abandon. Here is what we can actually point to. Post-war food surveys and later scholarly reconstructions show that the traditional Okinawan diet was dominated by sweet potato and other plant foods. Added sugar, oil, meat, and dairy were limited. This describes a population in a particular time of hardship. It is not a menu you must copy. The Okinawa Centenarian Study began in 1975. Researchers documented an exceptional concentration of very old people. They studied health, physical function, family patterns, daily life, and food. They observed favorable metabolic health in many people from the traditional generation. But this was observational research. It cannot prove that sweet potato caused long life or that one food eliminated diabetes. The people did not all eat alike. They did not all remain free of illness. Genetics, movement, smoking, alcohol, healthcare, social ties, and the history of that generation also mattered. On the screen, you can see the published reconstruction. Sweet potatoes supplied an estimated 69% of calories in that historical diet. Please notice the date and the whole distribution. This is a population average, not an individual prescription. You may later find a headline saying, "The Okinawan diet was nearly 70% carbohydrate." That is broadly consistent with the reconstruction, but it leaves out what the carbohydrate was. Mostly intact roots, vegetables, and legumes are not the same food pattern as sweet drinks, refined flour, and packaged snacks. You will also see a second-sourced graph showing that Okinawa's relative longevity advantage weakened in later generations as food and daily life changed. That is an association, not proof of one cause. So the honest conclusion is modest. The old pattern agrees with modern evidence favoring minimally processed, fiber-rich plant foods. It offers no guarantee. If you already have diabetes, this pattern may be something to discuss and adapt. It is not a treatment replacement. Your doctor stays your doctor. Many people notice first that a mixed meal feels more satisfying and easier to repeat. Any medical change belongs to proper testing and your clinical team. The old Okinawan lesson is not that one sweet potato defeats diabetes. It does not. The lesson is that an intact plant-heavy meal can crowd out some of the refined, energy-dense convenience food that quietly took over the plate. That is the pattern. At one meal this week, begin by add vegetables, add a suitable protein, then replace part of the refined starch with an intact root, beans, or an intact grain. Part of it, not necessarily all of it. Eat slowly enough to notice when comfort arrives. Begin smaller than feels necessary. A supper you can repeat is more useful than a perfect plate you make once and resent forever. And please remember the stone declaration in Ogimi. It begins, "At 80, I am still a child." Then it says, in its playful way, "When you come to fetch me at 90, wait until I am 100. I smile whenever I pass those words. They express a village attitude toward useful old age. They say that possibility does not disappear because the calendar has turned another page. But the stone is not medical evidence. It does not prove that everyone reaches 100. It does not promise a life without illness. A stone can carry a spirit. It cannot conduct a clinical trial. At 79, I am still considered one of the young ones in my village. I like it that way. It gives me an excellent excuse when I misplace my garden hoe. If you are the kind of person who intends to still be strong at 80 or 90, you do not need a perfect diet. You need a meal you can repeat. Your body is not done with you. It is still listening to what you do most often. The pot you fill, the shopping choice you make, the 5 quiet minutes you take before deciding on seconds. None of these must be dramatic to matter. You may keep a garden. You may keep frozen vegetables in one crowded drawer. You may cook beans from dry or open a sensible can because your hands are tired. There is no medal for making supper difficult. There is only tomorrow's meal. Tell me which city you are watching from, and the one ordinary thing you will try this week. Perhaps cabbage in the soup. Beans beside supper, half a sweet potato in place of part of the refined starch. Food and lifestyle details only, please. Do not share diagnoses or medicine lists. Then scroll down and read a few other comments. You may find someone in another city standing at the same kitchen crossroads. That quiet company matters. It is a little like a moai, a circle of mutual support, formed one supper at a time. If this video genuinely helped you, you may like it and subscribe. Please do that only if you want to sit with me again. It is not about collecting numbers. It simply helps useful, carefully checked information find the person who may need it. And if you choose to support the channel through the community option below, thank you. The purpose is not to take money from you.